In the dusty, forgotten corners of a sun-drenched attic lived a tiny mouse with a truly giant imagination. His name was Max, and to him, this attic wasn't just a place for old boxes. It was a kingdom of shadows, a mountain range of forgotten furniture, and an ocean of dusty floorboards. One sunny afternoon, while exploring a treasure chest or what most people would call an old wooden trunk, Max stumbled upon something extraordinary. Tucked away beneath a pile of faded lace lay a single crayon. It wasn't just any crayon. This one shimmered with all the colors of the rainbow, pulsing with a faint, warm light. Max's whiskers twitched with excitement. He'd never seen anything so beautiful. He picked it up. It felt warm, buzzing, with a strange energy. What should he draw first? A piece of cheese, of course. A big, magnificent wheel of Swiss cheese, with holes you could get lost in. He found a blank piece of cardboard and, with his tiny paws gripping the magical crayon, he began to draw. He drew the round shape, the little craters, the lovely golden yellow color. As he drew the final line, the crayon flared with a brilliant light, and then poof, right there on the cardboard sat a real, delicious-smelling wheel of Swiss cheese, just as he had imagined it. Max's eyes went wide. He scurried over, took a nibble. It was the most delectable, most cheddary, most perfect cheese he had ever tasted. This was no ordinary crayon. This was a magical crayon. Max's imagination, already enormous, went into overdrive. What else could he create? He drew a tiny car, a sleek red convertible, and poof, it appeared, engine rumbling softly. He hopped in, his paws barely reaching the pedals, and zoomed around a stack of old books. This was the best day ever. He drew a magnificent castle, complete with towers and a tiny drawbridge. Poof, it shimmered into existence, a perfect fortress for a mouse king. He was so caught up in his creative whirlwind that he didn't hear the soft patter of paws on the attic stairs. He didn't notice the pair of green, curious eyes peering through the crack in the door. It was Whiskers, the family cat, a fluffy ball of mischief, who had followed the strange, delicious smell of cheese. Whiskers slinked into the attic, his tail twitching. What was this tiny mouse up to? He saw the cheese, the car, the castle, and the shimmering crayon lying on the floor. While Max was busy admiring his new kingdom, Whiskers, driven by pure feline curiosity, padded over to the crayon. He nudged it with his nose. It tickled. He batted it with his paw, sending it rolling across the floor. As it rolled, it left a wobbly, rainbow-colored trail behind it. And then the chaos began. From the wobbly line, a parade of sandwiches sprouted legs and began to march, chanting, "Mustard, mayo left." Right. They stomped across the floor, their bread feet making a soft thumping sound. Max stared, his jaw dropped. Dancing sandwiches before Max could react. Whiskers, now thoroughly entertained, batted the crayon again. It flew through the air, drawing a loop-de-loop poof. A pair of old leather boots, a forgotten pair of Dad's, grew feathered wings and took flight, swooping and diving through the dusty air like grumpy, leathery birds. They zoomed past Max's head, narrowly missing his ears. "Hey, watch it," Max squeaked. But the crayon wasn't done. It landed near a forgotten tea set, and with another flash, the teapot grew a face and a spout-like mouth. "Well, I never." It huffed in a posh accent. "Such a ruckus. Would anyone care for a spot of tea? Oh wait, I'm empty." It began to chase a teacup that had also come to life and was rolling away, giggling. The attic was no longer a kingdom. It was a three-ring circus of magical madness. Max knew he was in big trouble. Flying boots were one thing, but a parade of sandwiches marching towards the stairs. If they reached the rest of the house, Mum would find out, and a talking teapot complaining about the lack of Earl Grey. It was a disaster. He looked at Whiskers, who was now chasing his own tail, thoroughly confused by the flying footwear. "Whiskers," Max yelled, "you have to help me." Whiskers stopped, tilting his head. Help the mouse. That wasn't usually on his agenda. But seeing the panic in Max's eyes and the sheer weirdness of a sandwich army, he seemed to understand this was a special situation. They were in this together. Max had an idea. It was a crazy idea, but it just might work. He pointed the crayon at a dusty old lampshade. "Whiskers, I need a distraction. A big one. Can you chase that?" Max quickly drew a big, bouncy, red ball of yarn. Poof! A giant yarn ball appeared, as big as a pumpkin. Whiskers's eyes lit up. This was a distraction he could get behind. He pounced, batting the yarn ball towards the sandwich parade. It rolled right through them, scattering the marching bread and cold cuts everywhere. "Hey, unhand my salami," one shouted as it tumbled over. While Whiskers was creating a diversion, Max scurried over to the crayon. He needed to draw something to fix this. But what? What could possibly stop this mayhem? He looked at the flying boots, the gossiping tea set, and the scattered, disgruntled sandwiches. He needed an off switch, an eraser. With trembling paws, he began to draw. He drew a big, pink, classic eraser, the kind that smelled like rubber and promises of a clean slate. As he finished the shape, the crayon flashed brighter than ever before. Poof! A giant wobbly eraser, the size of a pillow, appeared in the middle of the room. It bounced once, then twice, then it began to hop. It hopped towards the nearest talking teacup, and with a soft thwomp, the teacup vanished, leaving behind just a faint shimmer that quickly faded. It worked. The eraser was undrawing everything. Max and Whiskers exchanged a look. Teamwork. Max pointed, "Get the boots, Whiskers." Whiskers, understanding the game, leaped onto a stack of books and pounced towards one of the flying boots. His weight sent it spiraling downwards, right into the path of the hopping eraser. Thwomp! The boot disappeared. They were a perfect team. Max, the general, pointed out the targets. and Whiskers, the brave soldier, herded the magical chaos towards the eraser. They worked in a flurry of fur and squeaks. The sandwich soldiers were erased mid-march. The talking teapot was silenced mid. One by one, the magical creations vanished into puffs of rainbow smoke. The attic grew quiet again. Finally, only the giant ball of yarn and the magical eraser were left. The eraser bounced towards the yarn. Thump! It was gone. Then the eraser seemed to look at Max, bounced once, and with a final gentle thump, erased itself from existence. All that was left was the mess. Dust bunnies, scattered lace, and a few real breadcrumbs from the sandwich disaster. And, of course, the magical crayon, which now lay on the floor, its rainbow shimmer gone. It was just an ordinary-looking crayon now. Downstairs, they heard a voice. Max, Whiskers. What was all that noise? It was Mum. Max and Whiskers froze. They looked at each other, then at the messy attic, then back at each other. They had saved the day from magical chaos, but now they faced a much scarier challenge. Mum. Max quickly scurried to hide the crayon back in the trunk, while Whiskers, for the first time ever, started nudging a stray piece of lettuce under a dusty rug, trying to help clean up. The attic door creaked open. Mum peered in, a puzzled look on her face. "What have you two been doing up here?" she asked. Max held his breath. Whiskers just looked up and purred, a loud, innocent rumble. Mum scanned the room, seeing nothing but the usual dusty clutter. She shook her head with a small smile. "Playing, I suppose. Just try to keep the noise down, you silly pair." She closed the door, and her footsteps faded down the stairs. Max and Whiskers let out a shared sigh of relief. They had done it. They had saved the day. Max scampered over and gave Whiskers's paw a grateful pat. Whiskers just blinked slowly, then gave Max's head a gentle lick. From that day on, the tiny mouse and the mischievous cat were more than just housemates. They were a team, partners in crime, and the secret keepers of the day the attic came alive. And Max knew, even without the magic crayon, his imagination was the greatest adventure of all. Thank you so much for watching our story today. If you enjoyed Max and Whiskers' chaotic adventure, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more magical tales. We love sharing these stories with you, and your support means the world to us. See you next time.